Good evening from Decision Kentucky headquarters. I'm Steve Hensley.
And I'm Neil Middleton. The polls have just closed in Western Kentucky and the results are starting to come in.
In addition to the presidential race, we are following a number of local races and various questions on the ballot, from medical cannabis to legalizing the sale of alcohol.
And everyone is voting on 2 amendments to the state constitution. Now, we have reporters from the Cumberland Valley to the Big Sandy and all places in between. They are covering some of the biggest local races, and we will be hearing from them throughout the next hour. Starting off in the Cumberland Valley, we begin with what just a few weeks ago was an uncontested race. WYMT's Decision Kentucky coverage begins with a look at the 29th Senate race. The race spans Knott, Letcher, Floyd, Harlan, and Bell counties. Just 3 days before the deadline to file as a write-in candidate, the incumbent and unopposed candidate Johnny Turner died. Shortly after his death, fellow Senator Philip Wheeler described Turner like this.
Serving in the Senate to bring investment and make Eastern Kentucky a wonderful place to live, and his presence is going to be sorely missed this upcoming session.
Now, in the 72 hours that followed the announcement of his death, 11 candidates filed as write-ins in the race. Now, Turner was not always unopposed.
David Sewer, an independent, withdrew from the race on October 15th. In a statement posted on social media, Sewer withdrew due to his active duty military status. That post, actually on Senator Johnny Turner's account, went on to thank Sewer for his distinguished service. Both Turner and Sewer's names still appeared on the ballots, but any votes cast for them will not count. Only the write-in candidates' votes will be tabulated.
But it could be a while before we know the results of this race. WYMT's Madison Carmouche is in Bell County to explain why. Madison?
Yes, Neil, that is right. It may be a while. However, the system is more sufficient than folks may think. Initially, voters may think because it is a write-in, the ballots may need to be hand counted, but that is not true. This is why the filing deadline was so important. The 11 candidates had until October 25th to file, because for the votes to be counted, they needed to be in the system. I spoke to the Bell County clerk about the process of the machines recognizing write-in votes.
We pull them up on the computer, and every name is on there that's running. And if it's a name that has filed with the state, then we will count it. The computer will click it that it is one that's filed, that's filed with the state. But if somebody writes in a name that's not filed with the state, it gets rejected.
There are also people who will be verifying the decisions that the machine makes, as well as interpreting any of those write-ins that the machine is unable to. Now, there is some room for error as far as misspellings and things like that, but you have to get that name as close to those write-in candidates as possible for that vote to be counted. I am actually right here in the Bell County Courthouse, where precinct workers are downstairs doing just that, making sure those votes are going in correctly and that those write-ins are being counted. But for now, in Bell County, I'll send it back to you all.
Okay, thank you, Madison.
Well, let's take a closer look now at those 11 write-in candidates. We've reached out to all of them for a story we did yesterday, and Craig Blackburn of Floyd County is one we did not hear back from, but we did learn he worked in the oil and gas industry for more than 20 years. John Clem of Harlan County says he is a conservative running for the people. He says he's pro-life, pro-gun, and a Christian. Willie Crace of Floyd County says he's fighting for infrastructure, educators, first responders, and he adds he wants to work towards the future while protecting Eastern Kentucky values. We also reached out to Leonard Hendrickson of Knott County, did not hear back, but on Facebook he says he supports Donald Trump and coal.
We also reached out to Leonard Hendrickson of Knott County, and we reached out to Tanner Hesterberg of Pike County. He used social media to propose Amber's Law to increase state crime lab funding in honor of Amber Spradlin, and a Hall of Heroes in Knott County to honor troopers, increase tourism, and generate interest in law enforcement careers. He is endorsed by the Conservative Caucus of Kentucky. Valerie Horn of Letcher County is fighting for quality jobs, public education, and accessible health care. And Pineville Mayor Scott Maiden of Bell County is focused on transportation, education, and jobs. He is endorsed by Senator Turner's family, Congressman Hal Rogers, and the Senate Republican Campaign Caucus.
Justin Noble of Knott County is fighting, he says, to strengthen tourism projects, education, and notes he is a people person over party. He is endorsed by several prominent Democrats, Governor Andy Beshear, Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman, and Senior Advisor Rocky Atkins. Andrew Saylor of Harlan County says he's fighting for homeless issues and food insecurity through personal and professional experience. James Tyler Ward II of Letcher County says he represents mountain values and says he's a conservative fighter. And Paul Williams of Floyd County is fighting for funding for veterans, education, fire and police departments while working to bring jobs to the region. That's a long list of write-in candidates, and we'll see how this all shakes out through the evening. Definitely an interesting race here in Eastern Kentucky
I can't
tonight.
remember a write-in campaign like this where you had 11 candidates.
No, not that many. The closest thing I remember this was back years ago when Mayor Bill Gorman died right before the election, and his wife Nan ran as a write-in candidate and won and served as mayor for a while, but this is certainly unique and historic tonight.
It'll be interesting to follow tonight.
Yep. Well, as results continue rolling in, we have a lot more coverage planned. Watch us online, on air, and on the go with the WYMT News app. The app is free to download for both Apple and Android users. Coming up on Decision Kentucky here at 7, did you cast a straight ticket ballot? How pressing one button may have caused you to miss some other important races. And several state representatives are up for re-election today, but one key race could decide whether a Democrat represents anyone in Eastern Kentucky.